Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. So 3.17.1 is around the corner and it's going to be bringing improvements to the Archnemesis system. Well, in theory, they're improvements. We got the details today as to what's coming up, and I've got to say I'm pretty disappointed with this package of changes. The changes that are coming. Firstly, they're adding a drop-down list that has all of your discovered recipes, so it's easy to see which ones you have the components of. Well, it's kind of easy to see that already. If I wanted to see if I've got the components of Brine King, all I do is I go and type Brine King or Brine or King into the search field. And that's a quick action. It's an annoying action because you've then got to go and think of doing it. The only real advantage here is that it provides you with all of the information that you need as to which ones you've found. But you're probably more concerned about the recipes you haven't found, and ultimately that means you're still going to need external resources. So I think that this doesn't really achieve very much. Secondly, you can click only one to highlight that recipe, highlight only that recipe, so you can filter towards its components without having to type it in the search filter. Well, honestly, picking something from a drop-down list takes longer than typing it. And that's true even if you're a much slower typist than I am. This is a non-feature for PC. Maybe this is an upgrade for people who are playing on console, in which case, yeah, go ahead and provide it for the console players, but for a PC player, this is just a nothing feature. You would not use this if it was available now because you would type in the search filter instead. That's just quicker. You also don't seem to have anything here that says that it will highlight the subcomponents of something. So if you're trying to make a Brine King, one of the components of Brine King, I just happen to remember off the top of my head, is heralding minions. This does not seem like it's going to highlight the components for heralding minions, just the completed heralding minions if you already have one. Again, I don't think that this is very useful at all, unless it's modified to include all of the subcomponents as well. You can select multiple recipes at once to plan out recipes you're working towards. This, in theory, is a bit more useful, and it is the one thing that is a genuine improvement here, but I still don't think it really achieves all that much. So I have an indicator to show if you can complete a selected recipe with the components you have, and the little arrow in the corner goes red if no selected recipe is completable. Let's talk about the things that are missing from this. Firstly, some way to sort all of your Archnemesis tokens so that towards the top left is all of the ones that are directly looted from the ground, and towards the bottom right is all of the ones that you have assembled yourself. That would be just such a simple change that would make things so much better. The second thing that's needed is some way to sort things to show only duplicates. If I have 3 Flame Weavers, I would like to be able to see at a glance that there are 2 duplicates. There's one that's the first one, and then there's 2 that are duplicates. So essentially just a filter that says, click here to show everything that's not the first one of a particular item. Then that would just quickly identify, oh, okay, I've got a whole bunch of heralding minions. I may as well just use them, not save them any longer, just use them, get them out of the way so that they're done. That would be something to be a huge improvement. And lastly, something that makes it clearer what your recipe's ultimate components are. I have no idea what the components of Arakali Touched are. I've only done this recipe once, I do not have any idea, and I have to look it up on an external guide every time I want to do it, which fortunately I haven't wanted to do. So that's something that's a real pain. I'd bother with the tree ants because the tree ants are really strong, but that's basically it for dealing with the complexities of the Archnemesis system at the moment. That would all change if the user interface wasn't so bad, but this package of changes doesn't improve the user interface. Ultimately, what I think is going on here, reading between the lines, is that GGG have just decided to walk away from their system. They're going to make it tolerable for 3 months, and then at the end of that 3 months, they're going to scrap it, which will be a pity because there's such a kernel of it. There is such a good unfinished idea in the Archnemesis system. It makes some really interesting in-map encounters, and it has a lot of potential, but it is unfinished at the moment. In a lot of ways, it's like the Synthesis League. Synthesis League went live unfinished, and then they ended up scrapping what was a fantastic idea because it just annoyed people that the league was unfinished when it launched. I think that that's exactly what's going to happen with Archnemesis, and it's disappointing because the actual Archnemesis fights are a lot of fun, but I don't think they're going to be around for much longer unless there are some sizable improvements to this claimed 3.17.1. I was hoping for more from this patch, but I've got to report what there actually is, not what I want to see. So that's all I got on this one. May your Varlobs have interesting results.